Hey there, good afternoon, everyone. Victor Johnson with Goodwill Columbus Workforce Development. And we're back for our afternoon session talking about skills for the workplace and services that are available here at Goodwill Columbus. So this afternoon, we're talking about workplace etiquette. As you can see, I'm in an office by myself. So is workplace etiquette important to me? Yes, it is. Workplace etiquette is something that people seldom think of as something that supports their career, but it is really important for advancing your career. So, and we'll talk about how that happens, and you'll understand a little bit more at the end of this presentation. So, excuse me, I thought I turned off all my bells and one of them just popped up anyway. So, excuse that, please, but we'll get started with our presentation. I'd like to thank Valerie for, once again, being in the chat room, answering your questions, and really appreciate that help. Appreciate that help. Okay. So, what is this stuff? What is etiquette? I always like to define terms and use the dictionary to define terms so that I know what I'm talking about. So etiquette is a conventional requirement as to social behavior or a code of conduct, for any community or for any occasion. Code of usage in matters of ceremony, like a wedding. In a wedding, when the bride comes down the aisle, people are supposed to stand up. And also you're not supposed to have your cell phone on during a wedding, and you're not supposed to let it ring during a wedding. That's etiquette. Those kinds of things are etiquette. Understanding that you know how to act in a certain situation. And that makes it communication. Because what you're telling people is, I know what we're doing here, and I understand how I'm supposed to act in this situation. So it is communication. The thing is, what are you communicating through your etiquette? A great deal of workplace etiquette is just good manners, using good manners. So with that in mind, are good manners part of your brand? And what's your brand? What is your brand? Okay, it's those things that are your characteristics, your skills and abilities that make up the person that is you. So are you friendly? Are you kind? Are you respectful? Are you studious? Are you a quick learner? Do you listen well? Are you a good communicator? Do you work hard? Do you show up on time? All those things are part of your brand. And here's the thing about your brand. If you don't set your brand, someone else will brand you. They'll do it for you. You want to be in control of your brand. Basically, your brand is like saying, if someone spends some time with you, when they leave or when you leave, what will they be thinking about you? Your brand, when you are in control of your brand, you are the one that determines what they're thinking about you. Okay? So, are you known by your brand? I like this saying by Jay Danzy. Your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card. How you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark. Another word for trademark, brand. So how do people feel after an experience with you? How do you want them to feel? Because if you want them to feel like it was a nice visit, you were friendly, you were kind, if you want them to feel that, then you have to act that way. You have to be that way, okay? And this is, it's not an act. You have to be that way. Because if you're just acting kind or acting respectful, sooner or later, you're going to trip up. And everyone's going to know what your real brand is. So, what is your brand? Think about that when you're thinking about workplace etiquette. Think about what that means. Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's so true. And especially, I keep bringing this back to workplace etiquette, but, workplace etiquette is just saying your life at work. You spend, if you work an 8-hour job, then you spend a third of your life at work. And, usually when you think about it, it's the most taken up part of your time. Because when you're at work for those 8 hours. When you go home, before you go to bed and sleep for 8 hours, maybe, when you go home, maybe there's 8 hours. Maybe you spend some time with your family. Maybe you watch TV, you have dinner. But think about it. All that time you spend at work, you're at work. So you spend a third of your life at work. So how do people know you at work? How do you make them feel? Just things to think about. So we're going to talk about communication because etiquette is a form of communication. What are some of the ways we communicate? Well, in person, okay? Face to face, we use words verbally, and then non-verbally, we use gestures or posture or expression. We're going to talk more about each one of these. Electronic devices, that's a big way we communicate nowadays, whether it's a phone or whether it's video, just like we're doing now, or electronically transmitted text. Now, that could be an email, that could be a text message, that could be a fax that you get, but it's electronic. And then some people don't think about this, but you communicate by your character, meaning you communicate by what you say, what you do, and what you allow. Thing is, what are you telling people? Are they aligned? Do your words match your actions? We'll talk more about that in a minute. So in person, verbally with words and tone, what we say and how we say it. Do you speak with respect and consideration to your coworkers? Are you calm and are you polite when you're talking to your coworkers or your supervisor or the people that, if you're the supervisor, the people that are under you? And then you practice active listening. Active listening is when you are giving your full attention to the person who's speaking. You're not thinking about just replying to them. You're not thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. You are thinking about what they are saying and what they are trying to say to you. And you're looking for understanding. You're giving them your full attention. And then non-verbally, your body expresses your thoughts. Now, just think about it. If I'm in class, let's say I'm in a course, I'm in a training course, and every day when I come into the training course, I'm sitting like this. Would you think I'm very interested in what's going on? Yeah, here's the thing. I might be very interested, but because I'm sitting like this, my body language is saying, no, I'm not interested. And remember what I said about, if you don't brand yourself, somebody will do it for you. Well, that's one of those instances where someone will do it for you. So your expression, your gestures, your posture, they say, it's like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. An expression, you don't have to say anything. Gestures and posture, you really don't have to say anything. People know, okay? And, when you're walking down the street or something, when people are sad. By their posture, when they're happy, when they're confused, how by the way they act. And let's get to the electronically or electronic communication. So when you're doing communication electronically, try to have, especially video, try to have a clean background, professional dress. I dress this way for you because what I want to say to you is I respect your time and I respect that you are giving me your attention. So that's why I dress this way. And I try to keep the background clean, so you're not worried about there's a bird flying behind me or something like that, or there's trash all over the place. In workplace, when you're communicating like this, you really do want to be observant and take stock in what's around you. Okay, because once again, your environment speaks for you too. So, and then when you send letters, email, fax, and text, use correct grammar and spelling, no abbreviations, and have a professional email address. A professional email address is your first name and last name, and then, like at gmail.com. Or if, your name is John Smith, it might be John Smith, 1,200,000 at gmail.com. Or it might just be J Smith, but it's your name, especially in a business situation, because, there are times that here at Goodwill, we've had people send us emails, and the email address, we're kind of wondering, well, who is this? Somebody that knows us, somebody that we've worked with, or somebody we've been in contact with, but because they've got a strange kind of email address, like my favorite is mybabiesboo02 at gmail.com. I have no idea who that is. Okay. So professional email lets people know who you are and that you're serious. Okay. And don't use abbreviations or shortcuts. You want to use proper grammar and spelling just as you would if you were talking to the person. Professional speech, no slang, okay, on the phone. And the phone in the workplace, probably one of the most, I don't know, just about everybody has one of these now. But the thing is, it's become such a part of our life that it's kind of becoming one of those things where if it rings, if it buzzes, whatever you're doing, your attention goes to the phone. And that's not good. That's not good etiquette in the workplace or any place else. If I'm talking to someone and their phone buzzes and they stop talking to me to answer their phone, that tells me I'm not that important. The phone is important because they don't know who it is till they answer it. But the fact that they even picked it up to see who it was tells me, well, that's how important you are. So when you're on the phone, when you've got your cell phone at work, use it very sparingly. Remember, you're at work. You're not supposed to be on your phone talking to people. So use your inside voice if you are taking a personal call. And I'm sure you've been in places where you heard someone who was speaking rather loud on their cell phone. And by the time they were finished, you knew all of their business. Don't put your business out there. Okay. And remember, you have control over the phone. The phone does not have control over you. If it buzzes, it buzzes. That doesn't mean you have to pick it up. If it rings, it rings. Yeah, but if you're talking to somebody, if you're working, if you're paying attention to something or someone, just let it ring. Just let it buzz. Just let it sit. Okay? How do we communicate? And remember the last category, by character. And I just picked these pictures because, these are people who are known by their character. Okay? That's part of, their brand. Their character is part of their brand. Is what you talk about uplifting to people? Are you truthful? Are you honest? Are you respectful in your conversations with people? And what you do, especially in the workplace, what you do. Are you on time? And are you working your best? Working your time. What does that mean? Well, if I'm paid to work 8 hours a day and I get two 15-minute breaks, that means when my 15-minute break is over, I'm back working. I'm not still taking another 15 minutes to hear about, a baseball game or a movie or a documentary. Not doing that, okay? I'm supposed to be working. Working your best, giving it your best effort, not just being there, doing what just enough to get by. That's not real, that's not effort. And then what you allow, time. Now, when it comes to time, what you do and what you allow are really tied together. Because if you say that you're going to be on time and you're continually late, what's that say about your character? What's that say about your brand? And the thing is, when you're late, you're taking the time from someone else. If someone's waiting on you, you are wasting their time. If 10 people are waiting for you, you are wasting 10 people's time, excuse me. So, if you're 15 minutes late and 10 people are waiting for you, and you're 15 minutes late, you just wasted 150 minutes because you owe each one of those people those 15 minutes that you wasted. So think about it, and what do you allow? If someone is always late, do you say something? Because if you don't, that's what you're allowing. I'm going to be late every time if you're not going to say anything to me. But if you say, using an iMessage, if you say to me, I really feel that you don't value my time when you're not here when you say you will be, because then I have to wait and I'm backed up in all the other things I have to do. Okay, so what do I allow? And some people will say, well, it's not my job to tell somebody to be on time. Well, in some cases it's not, but it is your job to talk to someone who needs to know something needs to be done. Because if your workplace is going to be effective, everyone has to be effective. Okay? And then there's diversity in the workplace. To succeed in a diverse workplace, and we all know it, there are over 125 languages spoken in the city of Columbus. To succeed in a diverse workplace, it is important to display respect for all ethnicities, races, cultures, genders, age groups, disabilities, sexual orientations, education levels, and religions. Diversity in the workplace is important for employees because it builds a great reputation for the company, leading to increased profitability and opportunities for workers. Remember what I said about, good workplace etiquette is something that can help you advance in your career. Think about, being at work in a place where you show respect to everyone. You are kind to everyone. You're efficient. You don't waste time. You don't waste anyone else's time. And then an opportunity for a raise or an opportunity for a new position opens up. People think about who's going to be the best person in this situation, who's going to be the most responsible person, who's ready to take on more responsibilities, who is able to work with everybody, this diverse group that we have, who's able to work with them. And if you're that person, if you've been true to your brand, then your name's going to come up. And that's how people advance in the workplace. True advancement. Workplace diversity allows for unique perspectives and ideas. The old saying, 2 heads are better than 1 and 10 heads are better than 2. Listen to the ideas of other people. It can never hurt, it can only help. especially in the workplace. Listen to the ideas of other people. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them. You don't always have to agree with someone, but when you listen, you will learn. It may be something that you don't want to do, but you will learn. You'll have more knowledge because of that. Um, and then there's something called unconscious bias. Now, what's that? Unconscious bias. That means that you're asleep and you're mad at somebody while you're asleep. No. What it means is the way you grew up, your family, your neighborhood. There are things that we take sometimes for granted, actions that we take, ways that we act, the ways that we react to people that we don't even realize that we're doing. You know, some people in the past, it was, women. Women didn't get the right to vote till the 1920s. Okay. Wait a second. It was 1920, 1919. I'm sorry, 1918. Sorry, I'm not a history major. But just think about those times when, men just assumed, if someone said, oh, my doctor said that I needed to take this new medicine, people just assume that when you say doctor, you're talking about a man. If you say nurse, you're talking about a woman. If you say teacher, you're talking about a woman. If you say principal, you're talking about a man. People just assume those things. That is unconscious bias. Okay? That is when you're assuming something because of a pattern of behavior that you've had. And it's not right. It's not right. You shouldn't assume. You should look at every situation and every person for their individuality. And when you practice these things, when you practice workplace etiquette, when you practice being kind, when you practice diversity and inclusion, you have a non-threatening workplace. When you practice respect for authority, respect for others, you're actually showing respect for yourself. And in an environment like that, you can be productive, you can work together. That's what it means. Build a productive and collaborative work environment. That's what everyone wants to be in. That's the kind of workplace I want to be in. And actually, here at Goodwill Columbus, that's the kind of workplace I am in. So it starts with you, though. It starts with me. You've got to be the one, what you say, what you do, what you allow. How do you communicate? By voice, your gestures, your expression on your face, electronically, your phone, what are your phone habits? How do you treat things? How do you treat people? Is the phone more important than the person that's in front of you? These are the things about workplace etiquette that help advance your career and help make the workplace a really great place to be. I'm going to leave you with this thing called the Four Agreements. It was written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And these four agreements weren't necessarily written for the workplace. Basically, he said, if you followed these four agreements, you could live a more enlightened life. But if you're living a more enlightened life, you're going to take that to work with you too. So, number one, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. See? Don't talk bad about yourself. Don't talk bad about others. Use the power of your words, okay? Don't take anything personally, okay? Nothing other people do is because of you. Now, that might seem weird, but the thing is, when you react to something, it's your decision on what you're going to do. It's your decision on how you're going to react. People say, oh, you made me so mad. Well, no, there was a situation, and the way you reacted to it was that you got angry. I cannot make you angry. Only you can make yourself angry. Okay? So don't take anything personally. 9 times out of 10 in the business place and as in customer service, it's not about you. It's about something else that happened that day. Don't make assumptions. Ask questions. It takes courage to ask questions. It takes courage to say, I don't know. I'm not sure. I need to find out. Ask questions, and you'd be surprised how much you learn when you admit you don't know. Always do your best, whether it's at work, at home, your hobbies, whatever it is, do it to your utmost. Always do your best. And you will never regret the things that you do because you knew that you went full bore on it, that you did it to your absolute best. And you won't look back and say, oh, I wish I had done that differently. So this is big stuff. Workplace etiquette seems like um, workplace etiquette might just be, just a little thing, but workplace etiquette is about life. How are you approaching your work life? That 1/3 of your life that you spend away from your home and your family. How are you approaching that? This makes a big difference. And you can enjoy it and you can advance your career by just, thinking about workplace etiquette and being true to your brand. So I'd like to thank Valerie once again for being in the chat room. And I'd like to thank you again for tuning in. And tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to have another topic to help you with your career. So thank you very much for watching and have a good evening. Goodbye.